Welcome back to Midnight Signal AI. Today is June 5th, and we're tracking a day that's heavy on product changes, legal pressure, and a few signals about where agentic AI is headed next.
The big theme is personalization versus control. On one side, models are getting more useful by remembering more. On the other, companies are facing sharper questions about trust, misuse, and how these systems behave in the wild.
Let's start with the biggest model side shift of the day, OpenAI's new ChatGPT memory update.
This is one of those features that sounds small until you think about daily use. If ChatGPT remembers stable preferences well, it stops feeling like a reset button every session and starts feeling more like a real assistant. But memory is also a trust feature, so the user controls around it may matter as much as the model quality.
And OpenAI is clearly trying to make memory feel useful rather than creepy. The company is framing it as better continuity, not surveillance, which is the right instinct. The real test will be whether users can easily see, edit, and clear what the system keeps about them.
Switching gears to xAI, Benzinga reports that Elon Musk's company is pushing the court to strip anonymity in a Grok deepfake lawsuit. That's a very different kind of fight. Less about model capability, more about who gets identified when AI-generated harm is alleged.
This matters because it's not just a one-off embarrassment. If a court fight turns into a broader conversation about anonymity, provenance, and responsibility, xAI is going to have to defend the product and the process at the same time. That's a much harder position than just fixing a bug.
And there's a second xAI-related story today, this one from the Bozeman Daily Chronicle. A UK lawmaker says she is suing Elon Musk's company over fake Grok bikini images. So the legal pressure is widening beyond one alleged incident into a broader pattern of image-based misuse concerns.
The uncomfortable part here is that these cases are easy to understand outside the AI bubble. You do not need to know anything about model architecture to understand fake images of a real person, especially a public official. That makes the public reaction stronger, and it tends to force policy responses faster.
Now to Anthropic, where MakeUseOf says Claude may have been made worse for about a month and users eventually noticed. The key point isn't just that a model regressed, it's that people caught it through lived experience before any official explanation made the rounds.
That's a serious reminder that model launches are not the whole story anymore. If quality can drift over time, then monitoring becomes part of the product, not just the engineering stack. And the more people rely on Claude for daily work, the less tolerant they'll be of unexplained changes.
Sticking with Anthropic, LinkedIn is reporting that Project Glasswing is widening and that a select group of Indian financial and cybersecurity entities are getting early preview access to Claude Mythos. That suggests Anthropic is using regional, high-stakes pilots to stress test its next phase before wider release.
This is classic enterprise AI strategy. Win trust where failure is expensive. If Claude Mythos performs well in financial and cybersecurity settings, that's more persuasive than a flashy consumer demo. But it also means any misstep in those pilots would be especially visible.
On the Google side, AppleInsider says you can run Google's Gemini LLMs right on your Mac with a new AI Edge gallery. That's a notable distribution move because it pushes Gemini closer to local, offline, or lower latency use cases, instead of keeping everything in the cloud.
This could be a quiet but important shift. Local access changes the conversation from sheer model size to responsiveness, privacy, and convenience. And for a lot of users, especially on a Mac, that may matter more than whether a cloud model wins a benchmark by a few points.
CRN has a more enterprise-flavored Gemini story. Google Cloud and IBM are teaming up for a multi-billion-dollar AI agent Gemini enterprise push. The headline reads like a channel play, but the deeper signal is that Google wants enterprise distribution muscle, not just technical credibility.
Exactly. In enterprise AI, the smartest model doesn't always win if the buying process is messy. IBM brings relationships, implementation experience, and credibility with big accounts, which can matter just as much as raw model quality. That said, these partnerships also tend to blur accountability when customers run into problems.
Before we wrap, let's hit one research signal from arXiv. The paper on pre-deployment assurance for enterprise AI agents proposes ontology-grounded simulation and a trust certificate for regulated domains. The important part is the direction of travel, from hoping agents behave to certifying that they're ready before deployment.
Across all these stories, the pattern is pretty clear. AI is moving from novelty into systems that need memory, monitoring, governance, and legal accountability. That's true whether we're talking about a consumer chatbot, a frontier lab preview, or an enterprise agent stack.
And that shift is exactly why today feels important. The winners won't just be the models that can do the most, but the ones people can trust to remember correctly, behave consistently, and survive contact with real users and real rules.
Stay curious, stay informed. See you tomorrow.